Part 12. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 111. When there were only zombies left in the field, Wang Feng took a breath, then flashed and rushed in. Although his physical strength had not yet fully recovered and he could not launch the gale, these were just some ordinary zombies after all, and Wang Feng did this for a reason. After entering the circle, Wang Feng did not make a move, but just stood in the middle. At this time, the zombies were still eating food, but some zombies had just eaten half of their food and stood up and walked away, so they had to admit that they were unlucky and stood up helplessly and followed them. Wang Feng, who was standing in the center of the field, naturally became their target. Of course, there were also zombies that pounced on the guards on one side. Because Wang Feng's order had not been revoked, the guards naturally kicked the zombies back one by one. Especially at that time, Wang Feng asked them to kick the zombies to the living people in the circle, and now there was only Wang Feng in the circle, so these guards were very diligent in kicking all the zombies to Wang Feng. The survivors of the Green Island camp were a little panicked. They didn't know what Wang Feng wanted to do. Although Wang Feng was very powerful, there were more than 70 zombies in the field. If so many zombies rushed up together, could Wang Feng resist? Even Chen Tianhao was a little nervous, but he didn't say anything, because he knew that Wang Feng would not do meaningless things. Even the survivors who ran out to vomit gradually gathered together and looked at Wang Feng nervously, because they were a little used to vomiting. The only ones who didn't mean to be nervous were the soldiers of the Guardian Corps and Shalumi San Xiao. San Xiao was still standing outside the circle where Wang Feng was before, because without Wang Feng's order, they stayed where they were. At the beginning, Wang Feng just gently kicked the zombies close to Wang Feng back, because all the zombies had not come over yet. Less than half a minute later, with the cooperation of Wang Feng and the surrounding guards, the zombies finally gathered together and rushed towards Wang Feng. "Ha!" Wang Feng shouted loudly, and then his body began to move. Because Wang Feng's body was not particularly tall, he was surrounded by zombies and could hardly be seen from outside, so the people outside only heard Wang Feng's shout. Puff 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 puff. With a series of dense sounds, a large piece of blood mist began to burst out from the middle of the zombie group and spread rapidly. After one or two breaths, the center of the venue was shrouded in blood mist, and then there was silence. The survivors of the Green Island camp did not even dare to breathe, but just stared at the blood mist. Before the blood mist dissipated, a figure appeared in it, and gradually became clear. It was Wang Feng. He was still empty-handed, and slowly walked out of the blood mist. His face and body were covered with the red and black blood of the zombies. Coupled with the blood mist he just walked out of, the whole person seemed to have just stepped out of purgatory and descended into the world of Shura. Wang Feng walked to the survivors of the Green Island camp, his eyes slowly swept across their faces, then he raised his hand and waved it gently, and the guards began to gather at this time, ran to the camp gate, and gathered behind the Green Island people. The blood mist finally fell slowly at this time, and everyone was able to see the zombies, but at this time the zombies had all lost their vitality, and none of them could remain intact. Within a radius of 3 or 4 meters, there were zombies' broken limbs and arms. "Does anyone want to vomit?" Wang Feng asked lightly. No one answered, but no one shook their heads, and everyone looked at Wang Feng silently. These Green Island survivors suddenly felt that they didn't know Wang Feng a little bit, because before, when Wang Feng followed them in their camp to drink and eat roasted bird meat, he was like an ordinary boy next door, a kind and sunny boy. But now, he seemed to have turned into a demon in an instant. Not only did he watch those poor survivors being bitten to death, but he also killed those zombies by himself in the end. Among these zombies, there were those survivors who had been killed before. How could they know that the Wang Feng they saw before was the Wang Feng who was with his own people, and the previous Wang Feng was the revenge messenger from hell? Because these people, his brothers, just committed suicide in front of him, and a big reason was to not delay his time and let him come back to protect the camp. He still remembered Zhao Taihan's dying words, "Crazy. Green Island is handed over to you. Let's be brothers in the next life." The last words of Zhao Taihan's life were still roaring in his ears. This ironclad man, even when he was dying, was still thinking about the Green Island camp. And these people he was willing to protect with his life, actually expressed sympathy for the people who killed Zhao Taihan in front of Zhao Taihan's corpse. Wang Feng was completely furious. He walked to Chen Tianhao, stretched out his hand to take Zhao Taihan's body, walked to the pile of broken limbs, and whispered, "Iron Man. See. These guys are here, the madman has avenged you. Iron Man. You asked me to help you take care of the Green Island camp, I'm glad. I didn't have time to agree to you at that time, because I felt they were not worthy." Wang Feng suddenly raised his voice. Turning around and facing the crowd with Zhao Taihan, Wang Feng pointed at Zhao Taihan and said loudly, "Did you see it? The big hole in the back of Taihan's head? That is his fatal injury, which he did himself. It moves so fast that even I can't stop it." After saying this, Wang Feng looked sad, and he seemed to hear the gunshot again. "Do you know why the tough man committed suicide? Originally, I could save him, but he was afraid that I would save him and waste time, so he couldn't. I came back to save you, so I blew my head off with a gun in such a hurry." The last thing he said before he shot was to leave Green Island to me, because he knows that I am an evolved person and I can protect you, but now I doubt whether you are qualified to accept my protection. Just now, right here, I put all the enemies of the Iron Man inside and let them die one by one. I saw that many of you didn't take it seriously. You were pitying those guys. You thought they didn't deserve to be treated like that. Do you think I'm so cruel? You think I'm a devil? When these people are there, happily watching the Iron Man, surrounded by more than 40 zombies, fighting hard, who will pity the Iron Man? Who will call them demons? If I hadn't appeared, Iron Man wouldn't even have had a chance to transform into a corpse. His corpse would have been submerged by the zombies until it was completely divided. Then the zombies would have continued to wander around while gnawing on his bones. None of you will know that he is dead. Is this your kindness? Is this your compassion? Do you know what their purpose is for coming to Green Island? Do you know how they have survived since the end of the world? Don't you know? You don't know anything. Just show your kindness to them. Just show your sympathy to them. I'm really glad that the tough man is dead. If he is still alive, if he sees to your sympathy for these people. Humph. I know that no matter what you are thinking, I don't know, right? That's right. I don't know, but I can guess. From their way of doing things and their reaction to zombies, I guess I can guess how they got here. At least, I know that the supplies they got are not. I went out and found it myself. Do you know why? How many zombies did I put in just now? 40, how many people are there in them? More than 30, but until the end, did you see any of them kill even one zombie? No, not one. Don't tell me that there are people with broken legs among them, and don't tell me that there are women among them. Just because they haven't killed even a single zombie, they have been there from the beginning to the end. They were running around randomly, and no one tried to fight the zombies because they had no such experience at all. Since they have never fought zombies, where did they get the supplies? Do they rely on Qiujian? It has been less than a month since Qiujian joined them. Wu Qi, how long have you been joining their camp? Wu Qi in the crowd was stunned for a moment, and then he reacted and replied, a few days later than Xiaojian. It was Xiaojian and his people who rescued me outside, so I stayed there. Although I couldn't stand them, but because Xiaojian insisted, so I had no choice but to stay there. Having said this, Wu Qi turned to the survivors on Green Island. Everyone. I can testify to this. It has been less than a month since Xiaojian joined there, and those people have never dared to deal with zombies. Didn't Xiaojian say that when we first met? A wandering anyone who comes close to the camp will scare them to death. Haha. I saw this just now, so I dare to conclude that the purpose of their coming here is our camp. When they get familiar with you, I am sure that your fate will not necessarily be worse than theirs just now. How much better the outcome will be. Believe it or not. I'm too lazy to explain to you. I'm just telling you that your kindness and friendship should be used on your own people, on people who are worthy of your love, and on people who have always been like this. To those who protect you. If you continue like this and abuse your kindness, when you are thrown into a group of zombies by the people you once thought were pitiful people, and when the zombies bite your body, don't ask them why. Because. When Wang Feng said this, he suddenly pointed his index finger at the people in front of him and roared, "Idiot! This will be the only answer you can get." Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 112. After Wang Feng finished speaking, he did not continue to speak, but stood there quietly, side by side with Zhao Taihan, waiting silently. Everyone on Green Island was also silent. Some of the children were too young to understand what Wang Feng was saying. They only knew that it was very loud. They were so scared that they wanted to cry. However, because of the silence of the scene, they did not dare to cry. They just shed tears. The circles in his eyes were spinning. Some of the older children could already understand some of Wang Feng's meaning and stood there thinking hard. As for the adults, everyone was thoughtful. Wang Feng's words "idiot" still seemed to echo among them. To the heirs. I don't know how long it took, but Chen Tianhao walked up to Zhao Taihan with some difficulty, stretched out his hands, held Zhao Taihan's face, gently raised Zhao Taihan's drooped head, and looked at Zhao Taihan's eyes. Adam's apple scroll up and down and say softly, "Taihan, I'm sorry. 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 Sorry." Right. Everyone on Green Island behind Chen Tianhao also started to say one by one, and more people said they were sorry, and their voices became louder and louder. In the end, even the soldiers of the Guardian Legion roared together without speaking. Yes, the only way is to kill these three little guys. I'm sorry, a voice came from above. It was Lu Wanting. She had been hiding on the sentry tower because she didn't dare to see Zhao Taihan. It was she who promised Zhao Taihan to take those villains out, so she thought she was the one who harmed him. The culprit who killed Zhao Taihan. I'm sorry. It's me who killed you. It's me. I'm sorry. Lu Wanting was holding the heavy sniper rifle left by Zhao Taihan on the sentry tower, crying uncontrollably. Taihan. Look. All your enemies are dead, and our people know their mistakes, so you can go with peace of mind, Wang Feng said to Zhao Taihan next to him with a smile, but tears fell from the corners of his eyes. Slide down gently. After hearing Wang Feng's words, everyone on Green Island looked at Zhao Taihan. Even Lu Wanting on the sentry tower looked at him with tears in her eyes. However, Zhao Taihan's eyes were still open, as if he was not dead yet. There is no sparkle in it. Seeing this, Wang Feng took a deep breath and sighed, "Tai man. Don't worry. Leave the people of Green Island to me, and I will protect them well, just like you." As soon as Wang Feng finished speaking, Zhao Taihan's eyes closed gently. In his eye sockets, Wang Feng seemed to see a drop of crystal tears. Seeing this scene, everyone on Green Island finally couldn't help but burst into tears. They knelt on the ground one after another in front of Zhao Taihan, bidding farewell to this strong man who had been guarding them since the end of the world. The eyes of the soldiers of the Guardian Legion flashed. Standing behind everyone on Green Island, they saw the whole process. The moment Zhao Taihan's eyes closed gently, they seemed to understand the word guardian in their own legion. Salute. With a loud shout, 100 Guardian soldiers neatly saluted Zhao Taihan's body with a solemn military salute. Taihan, you go to the car and wait for a while. I will take you home soon, where you will be our eternal guardian. After Wang Feng finished speaking, he leaned over and picked up Zhao Taihan, and got on the bed. They took a bus and laid him flat on the last row of seats, then asked the injured Tai Zhu to accompany him, and then got out of the bus. When Wang Feng carried Zhao Taihan towards the bus, the soldiers of the Guardian Legion kept saluting. It was not until Wang Feng got on the bus that they lowered their arms. However, these soldiers who had just become evolutionaries yesterday, we seem to have something precious in our hearts. Tian Hao? Let everyone pack their things. Let's leave and go to Ganlin County. We are going to build a base there. After getting off the car, Wang Feng said to Chen Tianhao. Moving? Okay. I'll tell everyone to prepare right away. Chen Tianhao was just stunned for a moment, then agreed, then turned and left. Wang Feng looked up at the sentry tower, sighed softly, and in a flash, he climbed up to the sentry tower. Madman! Am I useless? When she heard someone coming up, Lu Wanting raised her head and looked at Wang Feng with rain in her eyes and asked. Wang Feng shook his head slowly, stepped forward and hugged Lu Wanting gently. It's not that you are useless, you just met someone you shouldn't have met. You, Tai Hanzi, and even your entire Green Island camp are too easy to trust. Ting ting. Remember, the Iron Man is gone. There are many reasons here, and even the biggest reason is me, so don't keep your guilt in your heart. The Iron Man definitely doesn't want us to be like this. We must complete him well. His wish is to protect what he wants us to protect. Lu Wanting asked in surprise, you know? How did you know? It's impossible for Taihan to tell you this. Wang Feng was shocked when he heard Lu Wanting's question. The biggest reason he said was because he did not tell Zhao Taihan in time that he had the evolution potion. Lu Wanting's understanding was definitely not this. Is there any other reason? Ting ting. What are you talking about? Wang Feng asked. Ah. It's nothing. Lu Wanting also knew that she had said the wrong thing and shook her head in panic. Ting ting. You should tell me, don't worry. I just persuaded you, so how can you feel the psychological burden? Only after you tell me will I know my mistake and won't make it again next time. Wang Feng, try to keep your tone as soft as possible. It's nothing. It's really nothing. Lu Wanting shook her head again and again. Seeing the tears on her face, especially the guilty look, Wang Feng couldn't bear to ask any more, so he had to give up and wait until some time later. Ting ting. We are leaving here soon. Go down and get ready. Is that Xiao still awake? Where is she? Is she safe? Wang Feng asked softly, trying to divert Lu Wanting's attention. Well, it's safe. Rura is looking at her. No one can enter that room except me while Rura is here. Rutu, Wang Feng was stunned. Suddenly he hit his head. Because of Zhao Taihan's incident, he actually forgot about Rura. When he came here, he thought that he would be a real hunter if he could bring Rura with him, but he lost it in the blink of an eye. Gone to the back of the head. Then let's go see her, Wang Feng said. Well, with Wang Feng changing the topic, Lu Wanting seemed to have recovered a little, and stood up gently. Wang Feng directly picked up Lu Wanting and jumped directly from the sentry tower. Lu Wanting blushed, but did not refuse, and she even hugged his neck with her backhand. Although Lu Wanting hid in the sentry tower after returning from Wang Feng, she heard clearly what happened below. Later, she stood on the sentry tower and watched. In fact, when Wang Feng separated those people and zombies when they were put together, Lu Wanting also felt that it seemed a bit excessive. But thinking that Wang Feng had done this before when dealing with those people with triangular eyes, she did not stop her. It was not until the end, when Wang Feng said those words, that Lu Wanting understood Wang Feng's painstaking efforts. he was telling for people like you, being kind to your enemies is being cruel to yourself. Thinking of Wang Feng's last words, Lu Wanting couldn't help but feel afraid. If Wang Feng didn't come back in time, even if Lu Qing didn't get the position he wanted this time, what would happen in the future? Lu Qing had only been in Green Island camp for a day and a half, and he had already won over so many people to his side. What if it was a week or a month later? Especially since there are so many women and children here, can they resist Lu Qing's verbal temptation? By then, maybe there will be no one on my side, because Zhao Taihan was killed by them on the first day. What about Chen Tianhao next? It is very likely that everyone around them will become their targets. Wang Feng is right, they are not good at dealing with zombies, but they are extremely ruthless against similar people. Lu Wanting believed that without Wang Feng, her Green Island camp would really fall into Lu Qing's hands, and just like Wang Feng said, one day, people like her would be thrown into the group of corpses by them. Sometimes, if you ask them why, they will only say two words, idiot. Won't that day come? Zhao Taihan was thrown into a group of corpses by them on the first day. If he continued, it would be far away when it was their turn. After getting off the sentry tower, Wang Feng let go of Lu Wanting, and the two held hands and walked towards the room where Zhang Xia was, which was the two-story building. As soon as Wang Feng walked to the door of the small building, a white light suddenly shot out from inside, and he rushed towards Wang Feng. Ha 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 ha, Wang Feng did not dodge, but returned his hand directly, stroking the flesh that fell on his shoulder and licking his face. Little guy, you seem to be getting faster and faster. Lu Wanting looked at Wang Feng with a strange look, which made Wang Feng feel a little strange. What's wrong? It's nothing, Lu Wanting replied with twinkling eyes. Humph. Little girl. You can't lie. Once you lie, it will be written on your face. Say it quickly, Wang Feng said angrily. Zhao Taihan's self did not dare to force Lu Wanting to say, Lu Wanting must confess this. Okay. Then I said it, Lu Wanting tilted her head and said a little proudly. Tell me, Wang Feng relaxed when he saw Lu Wanting put Zhao Taihan's matter aside for the time being, but he also knew that this was probably Lu Wanting's intention, so that he would not worry. After all, Lu Wanting and Zhao Taihan have been together since the end of the world. Now that Zhao Taihan is gone, Lu Wanting cannot recover so quickly. Actually, it's a good thing that you kept Rura this time, otherwise she might never wake up, Lu Wanting said with lingering fear. What happened? Wang Feng asked quickly. Cat catches mouse, Lu Wanting looked at Wang Feng and said seriously. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 113. Huh, Wang Feng frowned and looked at Lu Wanting. What is this? How come it's cat and mouse? Cartoon. Really? Lu Wanting nodded heavily. Last night, two of Lu Qing's people came here first, and they were scratched by Rura. We came over to see them, and they said they went wrong. Now that I think about it, they did it on purpose. Fortunately, I left Rura here, otherwise she would have suffered a loss. Wang Feng frowned, but immediately shook his head. People are dead, why are you so angry? Because we didn't know their true identities at the time, we thought they had really gone wrong, so we didn't pursue them. After all, it was their first day here, Lu Wanting continued. Humph. They are just scouting the terrain and taking a look at how many resources we have here, Wang Feng said, then waved his hand. Forget it. They are all dead. There is no need to say more about them. It's too short. Don't make it too obvious, or you'll get scolded. Oh, Lu Wanting nodded obediently. The people dispersed later because I had to discuss matters with Taihan and Tianhao, so I wasn't here either. Only Ruro was here to accompany Xiu. Fortunately, Ruro was very well behaved. Let it look at the poetry and it will stay here. Ruro shouted proudly when he heard the compliment. Humph. It's not because this is a place where food is stored. Of course this greedy cat will not leave. Wang Feng saw Lu Wanting praising Ruro and couldn't help but attack Ruro with jealousy. Niao Ao Ruro protested dissatisfied, then swooped onto Lu Wanting's shoulder and ignored Wang Feng. Ruro. Don't lick me. Lu Wanting tilted her head and looked at Ruro warily and said. Ruro nodded aggrievedly, then lay obediently on Lu Wanting's shoulder, swaying her little tail around. We were discussing how to arrange the new arrivals Lu Qing and the others in the house in front. About half an hour later, we heard Ruro's cry again, and hurried over and found Ruro chasing a foot. There are rats over a foot long running around. Taihan drew his sword and went up to chop the mouse. As a result, the mouse was so fast that Taihan couldn't hit it. Tianhao and I hurried up to read the poem and found that she was fine. We were relieved. After that, I stayed watch over Xiu while Tianhao comes down to help catch the mice. About 10 minutes, Tianhao and Taihan came up listlessly and said that Ruro had chased the mouse and disappeared. They didn't look worried about Ruro, because Ruro was chasing the mice, not being chased by the mice. What they were depressed about was that they were not even as good as a cat. I laughed at them for being nosy, ha ha. Ha ha. After Lu Wanting said it, she laughed happily, but she stopped laughing just twice and looked a little sad. Then, Lu Wanting shook her head and said softly, later, Ruro held that one in his mouth. The dead rat came back, showed off to Taihan and Tianhao, then ran away and ate the rat himself. So. You don't want Ruro to lick you, right? Seeing Lu Wanting suddenly lose interest in talking, Wang Feng naturally knew the reason, so he continued to change the topic. Yes, Lu Wanting nodded lightly. Okay, Wang Feng walked over and touched Lu Wanting's hair. Wang Feng stopped trying to persuade her. Anyway, this was not something that could be forgotten in a short time. Let's go up and take a look. The two of them went to the second floor. Zhang Xiu is lying in a room on the second floor. Because this is where food is stored, and no one usually comes up on the second floor, Zhang Xiu is placed here. People come and go in the dormitory every day, and there are also the children were chasing and fighting, and it was really not quiet. Regardless of whether you are afraid of noise during the process of evolution, it is always awkward to have a sleepy person in a noisy environment, especially if this person is a beautiful girl. Seeing Zhang Xiu lying there quietly, with steady breathing and rosy face, Wang Feng naturally knew that the zombie virus in Zhang Xiu's body was no longer a problem. In fact, he knew this even without looking. He came up mainly because he wanted to accompany Lu Wanting for a walk anyway. It's definitely not a special trip to see a beautiful woman. Ting ting. You take Xiu and put it on the bus, and then find 2 people to keep an eye on it. Or you can explain everything and stay with her there. I'll go check on Qiu Jian. Why is this kid still here, didn't leave? Does he want to take over the Green Island camp? Wang Feng looked at Zhang Xiu and then said to Lu Wanting. Humph. Poetry. It's so kind, Lu Wanting pouted and frowned. She looked very cute and completely incompatible with her status as a captain. I would like to call her by her full name, but then I also need to know her last name. You are always talking about poetry, so what should I call her? Wang Feng scratched his hair. Scalp. Hee hee. If someone is joking with you, just call her Xiu. Otherwise, if she wakes up and hears you calling her by her first and last name, she will definitely think that I am unjust. Let me remind you first, this girl Xiu, she is very talkative. When she is awake, there are more people in this camp who are afraid of her than of me. Seeing Wang Feng's embarrassed look, Lu Wanting couldn't help but come over and pull his arm, rest her head on his shoulder, and remind him carefully. Okay. Let's wait until she wakes up. We will all arrive at the base by then. The base is so big. If you can't afford to offend me, why can't you hide? Wang Feng shrugged. Base? There is a base so soon? How big is it? As expected of the captain of the camp, Lu Wanting's eyes began to shine when the base was mentioned. Okay. I won't describe it to you here, you'll see it soon anyway. Wang Feng pulled out his arm and touched Lu Wanting's hair. I'll go down first. By the way, where is Qiu Jian's woman arranged? Go down and walk straight to the left-hand side. Turn right at the wall and you'll find a utility room. That's where Qiu Jian found her before she left, because Xiaoun is afraid of seeing people. Lu Wanting said with a little regret on her face. What a beautiful girl, but it's a pity. She will get better. Don't forget to put her on the bus. Wang Feng pointed at Zhang Xiu and left quickly, almost letting the cat out of the bag. This kid doesn't really want to stay, right? Anyway, I won't bring the people from the Black Wolf camp back to the base, so it's fine if he wants to take over. Wang Feng walked while talking to himself softly, but he didn't expect that Qiu Jian didn't leave because when Qiu Jian took the strengthening liquid handed to him by Wang Feng and left, he planned to give it directly to Xiaoun, and take Xiaoun away immediately after she recovered, because Wang Feng had already made it very clear to him that if he intervened, he would be an enemy, and Qiu Jian knew how Wang Feng dealt with the enemy. It's not that he was afraid of death, but Lu Qing's gang was really not worth fighting for. If it was someone worth fighting for example, if Wang Feng wanted to kill Xiaoun, Qiu Jian would definitely fight for it. Even if Qiu Jian knew that none of the 100 soldiers in the Guardian Corps would be better than himself, even if he was weak, he would protect his woman, because he had been cowardly once, and he would never be weak again. When he approached the remote utility room, Qiu Jian's heart trembled a little. He approached gently, hesitating in his heart, because Wang Feng said that she would remember everything she had experienced. When she recovered, would she forgive herself? Would she continue to live strong? Qiu Jian had no way to give himself an answer. The closer he got to the utility room, the slower Qiu Jian's steps became. He was very conflicted now. He wanted Xiaoun to recover quickly, but he was afraid that Xiaoun would not be able to accept what she had experienced after recovery and end her life. Xiaoun was like this now, probably because she could not face her own fate, and could not commit suicide, so she closed her soul and became a person who only acted instinctively. The Walking Dead. However, no matter how slow Qiu Jian's steps were, he still came to the door of the utility room. Just when he was about to reach out and push open the wooden door of the utility room, some sounds came from the utility room. It was a low-pitched conversation from the man's mouth, mixed with some heavy breathing. From those sounds, Qiu Jian judged that there was more than one man in the room, at least 4, and from their words, Qiu Jian could easily judge what they were doing at the moment. Qiu Jian was stunned when he heard the sound, and his body shook violently. He wanted to rush in and kill those bastards immediately, but when he thought of Wang Feng's words, he hesitated. Xiaoun would remember everything he had experienced, which meant that if he rushed in now, Xiaoun would also remember it after he woke up. If Xiaoun woke up, he would pretend not to know what happened to her in the Black Wolf camp. If he took her away from here, maybe she still had the courage to live. Even if Xiaoun knew that he knew, at least she didn't see it, and Xiaoun might still be able to accept it. But if he rushed in now, the scene inside would be engraved in Xiaoun's mind forever. Although it is the same now, at least there is no him in this picture now. Qiu Jian certainly knew what was happening inside, and he also knew what kind of nightmare Xiaoun had experienced in the Black Wolf camp before. Every time he saw Xiaoun make that move, his heart would be like being pierced by 1,000 needles, bleeding. He didn't care that Xiaoun was. He just wanted Xiaoun to recover and live with him. No matter how long they could live, as long as the two of them were together, they just wanted to go through this end of the world together. But Qiu Jian knew Xiaoun's temper very well. If he went in now, Xiaoyun would probably find an opportunity to commit suicide after rescuing her. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 114. Qiu Jian stood outside the door, his fists clenched, his eye sockets cracked, a streak of blood slowly flowed down his cheek. The sound inside the door continued, as if countless rats were biting his heart. Qiu Jian's right hand tightly grasped the handle of the Miao Dao behind him. Because of the force, his joints had turned white, but he still did not rush in. Get out. Are you still taking up space? It's my turn. Look. Sister Yun seems to have fainted. I don't know how long it took. When Qiu Jian heard a sentence from inside, his eyes suddenly shot out, a strong murderous aura emanated from him. He loosened his hand holding the Miao Dao, and punched the wooden door of the utility room. Bang, the wooden door instantly broke into pieces, and the scene inside the utility room suddenly appeared in front of Qiu Jian. There were 7 men and 1 woman in total. When the sound of the wooden door breaking came, the 7 men looked towards the door together, and Qiu Jian instantly saw 7 familiar faces. These people were actually from his camp before, and 4 of them were from his combat team. Usually, they kept calling him Jian Ge, but he didn't expect that he could do such a thing. Jian Ge. Seeing Qiu Jian, the 7 men in the room all panicked, and some of them stuttered and called out to Qiu Jian. Qiu Jian finally saw his Xiaoyun, and at this time, Xiaoyun's body was covered with bruises. The body that Qiu Jian saw was no longer smooth, proving that Xiaoyun's nightmare had lasted for a long time. Qiu Jian took off his Miao Dao, took off his shirt, and went forward to gently cover Xiaoyun's body with clothes. Although there were a lot of clothes piled up messily next to him, Qiu Jian didn't even look at them. And just when Qiu Jian covered Xiaoyun with clothes, Xiaoyun, who seemed to be unconscious, suddenly opened her eyes. Those eyes were still so beautiful, but they had lost their former agility. Qiu Jian's body stiffened instantly. Xiaoyun woke up. Did she see me? At this moment, Qiu Jian's mind was blank. He didn't know what to do next. He even wanted to kill himself directly to escape this difficult moment for him. The 7 men were huddled together at this moment, trying to keep their bodies away from Qiu Jian. They all knew Qiu Jian and knew the relationship between the woman they had just ravaged and Qiu Jian, but they didn't dare to escape now, because there was no window in the utility room, and the only door was behind Qiu Jian at this moment. Qiu Jian picked up the Miao Dao placed beside him, slowly stood up, and looked down at Xiaoyun who was looking at him. In Xiaoyun's eyes, Qiu Jian could not see any emotions, no joy, tenderness, nostalgia, nor resentment, shame and fear. The eyes without any emotion seemed like a pool of autumn water at this moment, without any impurities. If you really want to use a word to describe it, perhaps, it can be called, pure. Clang puff, 2 consecutive sounds rang out, but Qiu Jian suddenly pulled out his Miao Dao, and stabbed it into Xiaoyun's forehead with force. A stream of blood flowed from Xiaoyun's forehead, flowed through her eye sockets, and then slowly slid down Xiaoyun's small nose and delicate face, as if it was a drop of blood and tears, echoing the one on Qiu Jian's face. The 7 men were stunned by Qiu Jian's actions. They originally thought that Qiu Jian was going to kill them, but before they had time to kneel down and beg for mercy, they found that Qiu Jian's target was actually Xiaoyun. Qiu Jian knelt on one knee, drew out the Miao Dao, then reached out and gently closed Xiaoyun's eyes, then looked at her gently for a long time, then took off his vest and covered Xiaoyun's face, then stood up, sheathed the Miao Dao, and then carried it on his naked back. Just now, the 7 men also wanted to sneak away, but the bloody Miao Dao in Qiu Jian's hand made them dare not rush over first. They also knew that if they rushed out together now, at least 3 or 4 people could rush out. But no one dared to guarantee that they were among the 3 or 4, so until Qiu Jian stood up, None of them dared to take action. Do you know why I killed Xiaoun? Qiu Jian suddenly looked up at the 7 men and grinned. For some reason, this smile on Qiu Jian's handsome face seemed a little weird. In the eyes of the 7 men, this smile seemed like a devil's smile, an invitation from hell. Because I think this may be the best ending for Xiaoun, and also because I was too murderous just now. I had to kill people, but I didn't want to kill you. Jian, brother Jian. Thank you, bastard. Brothers are like brothers, wives are like clothes. Brother Jian just sees it clearly. The front of the 7 men stammered. It's okay. If you want to thank me, you should thank me later. Qiu Jian suddenly laughed again, and although it was a silent smile, it gave people a crazy feeling. The 7 men shuddered at the same time. They suddenly felt a chill in their bodies and had a vague sense of foreboding in their hearts. Come out, Qiu Jian said kindly, then turned around and prepared to walk out the door. At this time, Wang Feng just came here. When he saw that the wooden door of the utility room was broken, Wang Feng couldn't help but frowned, and then quickened his pace a little. When Wang Feng came to the door, he just saw Qiu Jian turning around. The moment he saw Qiu Jian's eyes, Wang Feng couldn't help but be a little stunned. What kind of eyes were those? There was a kind of hysterical madness, but also a kind of calmness as quiet as water. Two extreme emotions appeared in a person's eyes at the same time. Qiu Jian also saw Wang Feng. He came to Wang Feng and asked softly, I want to borrow that warehouse. Wang Feng didn't say anything, just nodded lightly. Qiu Jian didn't say anything else, just walked out and stood at the door waiting. Wang Feng was looking at the 7 men at this time. He knew which warehouse Qiu Jian wanted to borrow, and what kind of experience these 7 people were about to face, but there was no trace of pity in Wang Feng's eyes at this time. Although Xiaoun's body was covered by Qiu Jian's clothes at this time, only her legs below the knees and the long hair on her head were exposed, and the scarlet on the vest covering her head. 7 men and a girl who lost her mind were in a utility room. Wang Feng certainly knew what had just happened here. Get out, Wang Feng's cold voice sounded, and the 7 men were startled at the same time, and hurriedly walked out of the utility room in a line, not even daring to take their clothes, and just stood outside. Qiu Jian didn't say anything, just looked back, and then walked forward silently. The 7 naked men looked at each other, saw the fear in each other's eyes, and then lowered their heads and followed Qiu Jian, ready to meet their unknown fate. Wang Feng looked at the utility room again, sighed lightly, turned his back, looked up at the sky, and stood quietly in front of the door. The scene of Qiu Jian leading 7 men to the warehouse seemed very strange, but because of Qiu Jian's expression, and because the 7 people were not from the Green Island camp, no one came up to ask him anything, but just watched curiously from the side. When they saw that their destination was the warehouse, the faces of the people in the Green Island camp all turned pale, as if they had thought of something. The soldiers of the Guardian Corps were a little surprised, so they asked questions one after another, because the door of the warehouse was locked with an iron chain, and the smell from it was very, pungent, so the soldiers of the Guardian Corps had never seen what was inside. Now only the survivors of the Black Wolf camp were left near the warehouse. They watched the people of the Green Island camp loading supplies onto the bus, knowing that they should be abandoned, but they didn't dare to go up and beg for mercy, so they had to watch helplessly. Now they saw Qiu Jian and 7 naked men coming over, and they made way and looked at the 7 naked men with gloating. As survivors of the Black Wolf camp, they certainly knew what was in the warehouse. Originally, they were still worried about their future, but now they saw that there were people who were more miserable than themselves, which made them feel a little better. But thinking of the situation in the warehouse, the survivors of the Black Wolf camp left the warehouse a little distance. Some of them even asked the people next to them quietly, "Hey, Lao Wang, do you think these idiots would follow so obediently if they knew what was in the warehouse?" Nonsense. Of course not, they would rather commit suicide than come. It's just that the warehouse has been locked. They just came yesterday and have never seen the things inside. Otherwise, they would definitely pee their pants. Do they have pants? Be careful. If they are heard, they may be hanged up together. The two were discussing enthusiastically, and the interruption of someone next to them made them all shut up. It's okay to watch the fun, but it's not worth it if they get involved. After arriving in front of the warehouse, Chiu Jian looked at the chain that locked the warehouse door. The chain was locked after Chiu Jian came, so Chiu Jian had the honor of seeing the scene inside. At that time, he thought Wang Feng was too cruel. No matter what others did wrong, killing people is not enough, so why torture them? What Chiu Jian didn't expect was that in less than 2 days, he came here again, and this time he wanted to hang someone there. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 115. Chiu Jian stood there looking at the chains, while the 7 men behind him felt something was wrong. Whether it was the look from the people in the Black Wolf camp, the bloodstains on the warehouse door, the smell coming from the warehouse, or the occasional groans, they all told them that the warehouse was definitely not a good place. Snap, Chiu Jian swung his Miao Dao and cut the chain directly, then kicked the door of the warehouse open. The scene inside made the 7 men behind him scream instantly. Except for 2 who were frightened by the scene and collapsed directly, lying on the ground and sifting the chaff, the other 5 turned around and ran. They already knew their future fate, and the huge fear made them subconsciously choose to run for their lives. In fact, they had a better choice, but they didn't think of it, or they didn't dare to do it. Chiu Jian swayed, knocked out the 5 fleeing people one by one, and then threw them next to the 2 people lying on the ground, and then pulled one of the 2 people up by the arm and dragged him into the warehouse. The shrill screams came from the warehouse, causing the survivors of the Black Wolf camp to involuntarily leave the warehouse again for a distance. Some even covered their ears directly, but they still couldn't stop the screams from stimulating their hearing. Chiu Jian was very fast. In less than 10 minutes, he had brought all 7 men into the warehouse. When Chiu Jian finally stepped out of the warehouse, his body was completely covered with blood, and even his face could not be seen clearly. After leaving the warehouse, Chiu Jian closed the door of the warehouse again, tied a knot on the iron chain that he had cut, and then pulled out a long nail from the door of the warehouse with his bare hands, twisted the iron chain together, and then ignored the awe-inspiring eyes cast on him by the survivors of the Black Wolf camp and strode away. When Chiu Jian returned to the utility room again, Wang Feng was still standing there quietly, looking up at the sky, as if this gray sky was a beautiful scene. Did you see it? Feeling Chiu Jian coming in front of him, Wang Feng did not change his posture, but just asked softly. Chiu Jian was startled, and looked up at the sky. After looking for a while, his eyes changed. When he lowered his head again, he looked at Wang Feng with a grateful look. Wang Feng lowered his head and looked at Chiu Jian. Seeing Chiu Jian's eyes, he knew that Chiu Jian had understood what he meant, so he raised his hand. In his hand, there was still a small golden bottle. In fact, how you do things is not important. What is important is why you do it. You can judge a person from your own perspective, but it is best not to judge a person from your own perspective, because you are not him. Take this, and when you find a goal to keep yourself alive, you can come back to me. After saying that, Wang Feng stuffed the small bottle into Chiu Jian's hand, patted his shoulder with his hand, and left without looking back. Chiu Jian stared blankly at the golden vial in his hand, silent. A young man covered in blood stood outside a utility room with a girl's body, like a stone sculpture, and had not moved for a long time. Wang Feng walked towards the door of the camp. He didn't need his help to move things. What he wanted to know was when his people could set off. As for Chiu Jian, if he could communicate, he would still accept him when he came back. If he couldn't figure it out, today would be the last time they met. What he threw to Chiu-jian was a bottle of evolution potion mixed with Chiu-jian's blood. This was what he asked Tiankai to absorb from Chiu-jian when Chiu-jian walked out of the utility room. In addition, Wang Feng also asked Tiankai to add a trace of life source to this bottle of evolution potion. This was all he could do to help Chiu-jian. When he just saw the scene in the room, Wang Feng knew that Xiaoyun was killed by Chiu-jian. Because the blood stains on Xiaoyun's clothes showed that Xiaoyun was not tortured to death, but was killed instantly. Thinking of what he had told Chiu-jian, Xiaoyun would remember everything he had experienced after regaining consciousness. Wang Feng couldn't help shaking his head. If he didn't tell Chiu-jian this, Chiu-jian might not kill Xiaoyun himself, but, could Xiaoyun really survive after waking up? Or would he commit suicide after recalling his nightmare experience again? Wang Feng didn't know the answer, and he didn't want to know. In any case, Xiaoyun was dead and couldn't come back. Like the Iron Man, if everything could be repeated, it would not be life, but a game. When Wang Feng returned to the camp gate, the relocation of the Green Island camp was almost coming to an end. Chen Tianhao started all the cars that could be started and prepared to drive them all to Ganlin County, because Wang Feng said that an unprecedented large base would be built there. Ignoring the busy crowd, Wang Feng flew directly onto the sentry tower and stood there quietly thinking about something. Chiu-jian's killing of Xiaoyun touched him deeply, because Chiu-jian gave him the impression of a man who was reasonable, had a bottom line, but had no opinion and was a bit cowardly. Although he refused to follow his orders and refused to break the survivor's legs, showing that he also had a stubborn side, but in the end, when Chiu-jian got on the car, he still gave up the survivor and pushed him into the car. This is Chiu-jian's compromise. Although he did not explain anything directly to Wang Feng, his actions expressed his meaning. To be honest, when Chiu-jian pushed the prisoner into the car, Wang Feng was a little disappointed with Chiu-jian's compromise. If Chiu-jian could always insist on protecting the prisoner and no longer serve as a driver, then he would look at Chiu-jian differently. Regardless of whether the prisoner is worthy of Chiu-jian's protection, since he has taken action, he should not give up halfway. This is not what a real man should do. Now Chiu-jian killed Xiaoyun with his own hands and hung those who insulted Xiaoyun in the warehouse, which shows that Chiu-jian's heart has undergone earth-shaking changes. As for whether this change is good or bad, no one knows. The reason why Wang Feng stayed there when Chiu-jian went to the warehouse was to protect Xiaoyun's body and to wake Chiu-jian up when he came back. Now it seems that Chiu-jian seems to understand what he means. As for whether Chiu-jian understands it correctly, we can only see whether we can see him in the future. Crazy. Almost done, Chen Tianhao looked up and greeted Wang Feng. Oh. Good. I'm here. Wang Feng jumped down from the sentry tower. At this time, all the guns on the sentry tower had been dismantled, leaving only a wooden frame. Almost everything that could be taken away from the camp was taken away. It seems that the camp with a woman as the captain is different from the camp with a man as the captain. At this time, all the people in the Green Island camp had boarded the car. Only Lu Wanting, Chen Tianhao and some soldiers of the Guard Corps stayed outside. Looking at the convoy in front of them, they looked back at the Green Island camp. Here, Wang Feng felt for the first time that there was still hope in this world. Here, Wang Feng rekindled his fighting spirit. Here, he met a woman who really walked into his heart. Here, he lost a brother who could have accompanied him to fight in the end times. Life is so impermanent. No one knows what will happen in the next moment. Whether you are willing to accept it or not, it will happen. When looking at the Green Island camp, Wang Feng suddenly found the dozens of people in the Black Wolf camp. They have been looking at this side, with different expressions on their faces. Pray, regret, despair, fear, sorrow. Who? Tianhao? Go call them over and take them with you, Wang Feng sighed and said softly. Okay, Chen Tianhao agreed very happily. In fact, he had long wanted to ask Wang Feng to take these people from the Black Wolf camp. After all, there were dozens of living people. If they were left here, their fate would be obvious. But Chen Tianhao did not dare to take the initiative to find Wang Feng to say it. This is the difference between Chen Tianhao and Zhao Taihan. If Zhao Taihan was here, he would have shouted a long time ago, and even let those guys get on the car first and wait for Wang Feng to find out. Wang Feng originally did not want to take these people with him because their behavior really disappointed Wang Feng. However, although these people did not do things well, they had not touched Wang Feng's bottom line. Moreover, there were really not many living people now. The environment changes people, so take them back to the base to see if these people can adapt to the base. If they continue like this, at least it cannot be said that Wang Feng did not give them a chance. Moreover, these people's natures should not be like this. It's just that under the brutal Black Wolf, if they don't make some changes, they may not survive until now. When Chen Tianhao brought the people from the Black Wolf camp over, Wang Feng was a little amused, because these people actually brought some food and water and other supplies, which seemed to be secretly left by Chen Tianhao before. Now that they are all gone, of course they have to take them away. Chen Tianhao came over with a bucket of water. When he saw Wang Feng, his old face blushed and he felt a little embarrassed. Unexpectedly, Wang Feng nodded to Chen Tianhao and said seriously, "Tianhao? Thank you." Chen Tianhao was stunned and didn't understand why Wang Feng suddenly said thank you to him, but he still grinned and went to the team. Looking at Lu Wanting beside him, Wang Feng smiled, "Let's go." "Yes. Let's go." Lu Wanting also smiled at Wang Feng. The two walked towards the team hand in hand at the same time. What happened before is over. Tomorrow's life needs to continue. In this end of the world, everyone doesn't know how far they can go. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 116. After Wang Feng's convoy left, Qiu Jian, shirtless and carrying a Miao Dao, slowly walked out of the camp and watched the convoy go far away. When the convoy finally disappeared from his sight, he raised his right hand, looked at the golden bottle in his palm, then clenched his fist, looked at the direction where Wang Feng and his team disappeared again, and turned to enter the Green Island camp. When Wang Feng and his team rushed back to Ganlin County, the sky was already full of stars. Fortunately, Wang Feng had said hello to Duan Lei before leaving, and asked him to leave a residential building for the people in the Green Island camp, so everyone was busy but not chaotic after arriving. On the way back, when passing the Black Dragon Bridge, Wang Feng did not get off the car. Because of the strong aura, Wang Feng was not sure whether to salvage the turtle's body, let alone go down to guard the turtle's body now. Knowing that Wang Feng was back, Tang Haoshan, Lu Qiang, Gui Wuivang and others all came over. Now they were in the clubhouse of the former community. The place was large enough. Duan Lei and his friends originally planned to use the warehouse supermarket as the meeting place, but they found that it was too big, so they tidied up the clubhouse and used it as the headquarters of the Hope Base temporarily. Wang Feng first gave a brief introduction to the personnel of both sides. In fact, there was nothing to introduce. In the Green Island camp, only Lu Wanting and Chen Tianhao had not been seen by everyone. Chen Shaoan had seen everyone before, but he was not very familiar with them. After introducing everyone, Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei, "Lazy Eye, help me arrange two people first, and then I will tell you about my experience today." Two people? Duan Lei was stunned. "Well, one is a corpse. I will bury him here tomorrow. The other is a girl. The situation is similar to Lao Lu." Wang Feng nodded. Duan Lei didn't react after hearing about the corpse. Anyway, Wang Feng would tell him about it later. When he heard about the girl, Duan Lei couldn't help but raise his eyebrows, similar to Lao Lu. Isn't that? That's right. An evolver, similar to me, also an agile type, Wang Feng confirmed. Wow, everyone present was excited. One more evolver meant that the power of the base was stronger. The enhancers present were naturally jubilant. They were excited, while Lu Wanting and Chen Tianhao were surprised. When they saw the 100 enhancers before, Lu Wanting and Chen Tianhao already felt that Wang Feng was particularly powerful, but they just thought that Wang Feng brought out his most elite troops to pick them up. Because they knew that Wang Feng had enhanced potions, although 100 enhancers were a lot, they could barely accept it when they appeared next to Wang Feng. Who knew that after arriving here, they found that among the dozens of people who came in, only the woman named Shen Yishan was an ordinary person. All the others were actually enhancers, and most of them were second-level enhancers. They only now realized how powerful Wang Feng really was. Crazy. Let's arrange the girl here. Now this club is the temporary headquarters of our Hope base, but I guess it may become official in the future, unless we move out of Ganlin County. Duan Lei thought for a while and said, there are a total of 10 floors here, 8 floors above and 2 floors underground. We plan to use the top 4 floors for living. Of course, they are all people we trust. The other places will be arranged later depending on the situation. Anyway, we don't need offices or anything. Okay, Wang Feng nodded, and then looked at Lu Wanting. Ting ting. Bring the person over. Lu Wanting agreed and walked out, because even Wang Feng didn't know where to arrange Zhang Xiu, so he left her in the car first, and naturally Ruro was watching her, and now their car was parked in the community. Basically there was no danger. Although Wang Feng was out for only one day, the community has changed a lot now. The energy of tens of thousands of survivors acting together is very huge. The entire community has been cleaned up, and the current Bishui community looks almost the same as before the end of the world. Especially the restoration of electricity. Of course, this is the function of the generator, not Duan Lei and his team controlling the power plant, and because of the fuel problem, the current power supply is only for the club. After Lu Wanting went out, at Duan Lei's signal, a second-level enhancer also followed her out to help arrange accommodation. To get to the top 4 floors, you don't need to go through the club lobby, but there is another entrance and exit. Put the body in the armored vehicle first, and find a place to bury it tomorrow. Duan Lei looked at Wang Feng and said. Wang Feng thought about it and nodded, okay. I'll go put him away first and come back to talk about it. After Wang Feng went out, only Chen Tianhao and Chen Shaoan were left in the Green Island camp, and the two seemed a little uncomfortable. Lu Qiang saw the embarrassment of the two, so he walked forward. As for the people brought back by Wang Feng, the two believed that they would not look down on them just because they were only first-level enhancers. Hello, brother. I'm Qiangzi, can I call you Tianhao? Lu Qiang spoke first. Of course, hello Qiangzi. Chen Tianhao stood up quickly. Ha 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 ha. I say, are you too jealous? You still greet each other. Since you are here, you will be brothers who eat from the same pot in the future. Do you need to be so polite? Tang Haoshan laughed and walked forward. Tianhao? You can call me Haoshan. From now on, this is your home and we are your brothers. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Haoshan, Qiangzi, then I'm welcome. Chen Tianhao was not that pretentious, and he immediately responded with a smile. Taizu. The lunatic hasn't come back yet, why don't you tell me what you did this time? After Tang Haoshan patted Chen Tianhao on the shoulder, he turned to Zhao Taizu, who had been sitting there feeling bored since he came back. Don't ask me. I don't know anything, Taizu said in a sullen voice. He really didn't do anything along the way. After helping Wang Feng block the water arrow, he basically stayed in the bus. he was recovering from his injuries because Wang Feng strictly ordered Taizu not to get off the car. Even when he was catching those zombies on the road, Taizu didn't have a chance to take action and was looked down upon by Wang Feng. Hey! It seems like this silly boy is feeling aggrieved this time, Tang Haoshan asked a little strangely. Humph! Taizu snorted and simply turned his face and ignored no one. Duan Lei smiled and was about to speak when he found that Wang Feng had already walked into the lobby of the club, so he stopped talking and leaned back in his chair leisurely. After Wang Feng came back, he found a chair and sat down, grabbed a bag of braised pig's trotters on the table, unpacked it and ate it, and motioned to Chen Tianhao and the others to do whatever they wanted. After a pig's trotter was eaten, he picked up a bottle of water and drank it dong 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 dong. Then he took a deep breath and began to talk about his experience today. It's just that Wang Feng's words were very rough. For example, when he talked about the Black Dragon Bridge, he said that when he was crossing the bridge, he found a water arrow shooting up from below. Taizu helped him block the arrow, and then he jumped down and killed the turtle, etc. So in less than an hour, Wang Feng had finished talking about it all. This was because he specifically talked about the part about Zhao Taihan in detail, and the part about killing Lu Qing in more detail. Otherwise, he would have been able to explain it in a few minutes. Finished. When he told the scene where Zhao Taihan closed his eyes, Lu Qiang and others were all moved. Tang Haoshan even slapped the chair and shouted, "What a man! I will definitely attend the funeral tomorrow." After everything was said, Wang Feng looked at Duan Lei. "I will take people to see that turtle tomorrow, because there is a deep hole under it. I don't know if there are other mutant beasts inside. If not, we will pull the turtle back, and if so, simply give up." "Okay. You decide this," Duan Lei agreed happily, and then said, "Have you finished speaking? It's my turn. As you can see, the entire community has been basically cleaned up, and the accommodation has been completely allocated. It's almost the same as the first night, except this time detailed registration has been done, and each unit has a dedicated responsible person. People. Each household also has a person in charge, and any issues are reported step by step. In addition, electricity can only be supplied to this club at present. We are not trying to exercise special privileges, because we are classifying talents." Talent classification, Wang Fengda was curious. "Yes. It's the classification of talents," Duan Lei nodded. "We have dedicated a room there so that all those who think their majors will be helpful to the construction of the base can register there, so that if we need anything, if you have enough people, you can go directly to him. I also asked people to find among all the survivors the talents we are in urgent need of now, such as construction engineering people, bricklayers, cement workers, etc., and recruited them, as well as botanists, biologists, agricultural experts, and more." "Stop, stop, stop," Wang Feng quickly asked Duan Lei to stop. "You can do these things. I don't care about this. Anyway, it's up to you whether you want to farm or build a house. I will be responsible for guarding the Legion." "How many things can the Guardian Legion do?" Duan Lei said helplessly. "Okay. That's up to you. But there is one thing you must help me with." "What do you want to say first?" Wang Feng suddenly became alert when he heard this. He did not dare to agree immediately, but wanted to ask about something first. "Hey. Actually, it's nothing. It's just, we decided to implement your points system directly in the entire base. Naturally, only you have the rewards, so we need your support," Duan Lei said, a little embarrassed. "What?" Wang Feng jumped up from his chair when he heard this. "Are you crazy? Or did I hear it wrong? Or am I crazy? Do you mean that everyone will implement the points system and then change to strengthen the system? Ask me to get the medicine? That's 70,000 to 80,000 people." Duan Lei looked at Wang Feng and nodded seriously. "You are absolutely right this time. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 117. Looking at Duan Lei's eyes, he suddenly became discouraged. Let me think about it and give you an answer tomorrow. Wang Fen knew that Duan Lei would not embarrass himself like this if it was not necessary. Duan Lei nodded, then looked at the people in the lobby and said, I only have one purpose for doing this, that is, when this base is built, you will be the absolute controller of this base. To put it bluntly, everyone in this base will I'm working for you, and the strengthening liquid and evolution liquid you produce are wages. As soon as Wang Feng sat down, he immediately jumped up again. Holy crap! Why should I do this? You know I don't have that intention. Duan Lei stretched out his hand to stop Wang Feng. I know you don't mean that, and I think everyone here knows it. Just after saying this, Lu Wanting and the second level enhancer walked in. Ruro was still not there. It seemed that he was still there. Continue to be its full-time bodyguard. Duan Lei waited until Lu Wanting and the second level enhancer found their seats and sat down before speaking again. I am planning for the future. Our base cannot always have just these people. More people will definitely join in the future. Our base. And our base will continue to expand. At least we have to take over the entire Heilong city area. In other words, the territory here at Heilong Bridge is ours. Only in this way will we have the capital to be undefeated. No matter it is, we are not afraid of zombies or anything else. Everyone here, including Lu Wanting and Tianhao who just joined today, we are basically people who have fought side by side with Madman. We all know Madman's character, but I still want to push Madman to this position. We are all united now, because we have just started. We currently lack everything, and the pressure of survival has been on our heads, so we have no other ideas and no time to think about it. But what about in the future? When our base is basically formed and our lives gradually stabilize, who can guarantee that everyone's ideas will remain unchanged? It is said that starting a business is difficult, but keeping it is even harder. Why? Because when we started a business, we had nothing, and we couldn't fight for it even if we wanted to, because there was nothing for you to fight for. Now we are all assigned at will. If there are few people there, just a few will be transferred. What I'm afraid of is that in the future we will fight over who has more power and who has less power, who has more oil and water, and who has less oil and water. They started to scheming against each other. Even if those of us now can guarantee that this will not happen, what about those who will join in the future? Will we no longer absorb others to join us? Madman. The Lu Qing you talked about today is the best example. This person is good at killing, because he will be a time bomb in any camp he is placed in, because he can't do anything else but fight for power. What I fear most, there are people like this sneaking into our base. Think about it. He has attracted so many people to support him just after he arrived at Wanting. What if this kind of thing happens in our Hope base in the future? Then it is not enough to just kill dozens of people. The dead people there will be thousands, and even our Hope camp will collapse in an instant. Duan Lei's words made everyone present feel horrified. Tang Haoshan looked at Duan Lei and said, Xiao Lei. It's not that serious, right? If anyone dares to come to my ears to sow discord, I will slap him to death. That's right. If anyone dares to tell me, I'll kick him to death. Me too. Me too. For a time, everyone in the lobby expressed their opinions one after another, and the crowd was excited. Duan Lei waved his hand and waited until everyone calmed down, then shook his head, sighed and said, It's not that simple. A smart person won't make it so obvious. He just needs to tell you one thing every day that other people have done wrong. As time goes by, you will start to find that person annoying, and then he will help you hug him. If you don't fight, the little resentment in your heart will become bigger and bigger until you can't control it. This world has never lacked people who are passionate about power. It was before the apocalypse and it will be the same after the apocalypse. Wu Yongqing and Lu Qing, they all belong to the same type of people. That's why I have this suggestion, and only we people know about this matter. When someone makes an issue on this in the future, you will know the importance of my current proposal. Ha 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 ha. Are you all sick? Isn't this a good thing? Or do you really want to be the leader of some base? Tang Haoshan suddenly laughed at this time, stood up and looked around the crowd and asked Road. Old Tang, hurry up and let go. Gui Wuivong, who had lost his arm, frowned and said. He knew that Tang Haoshan must have thought of something. Damn. Be careful what you say. There are girls here. Even if I really fart, I still have to go outside. Tang Haoshan glanced at Gui Wuivong seriously, and then looked at Lu Wanting. Yeah. Go out and put it out to make it less smelly. What stunned Tang Haoshan was that Lu Wanting nodded seriously to him and said seriously, who is Lu Wanting? After all, he is the person who manages a camp in this chaotic apocalypse. Even if he is a woman, she is definitely not a simple woman. She just becomes dependent on Wang Feng and relies too much on him. Now that I have just arrived here, if I still rely on Wang Feng, I will inevitably be regarded as a vase, beautiful but useless, so naturally I will no longer be a good girl. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Tang Haoshan's dumbfounded look, Gui Wuivong was the first to laugh wildly, then stretched out his one arm and gave a thumbs up to Lu Wanting and said, Girl. That's a good answer. Then, she gestured her thumb to Wang Feng, crazy. You are a good wife? I insist on getting it. After Lu Wanting returned to the lobby, she came and sat down next to Wang Feng. A blind man could see their relationship. There was a burst of laughter in the lobby. After the shocking battle against 100,000 zombies that day and this period of running in, these enhancers have long been extremely familiar with each other. It is commonplace to make fun of each other, especially Tang Haoshan, who is rarely seen in the crowd. I've seen him look defeated. How can I give him face at this time? Damn. Tang Haoshan turned around in a circle and found that everyone was laughing at him, so he yelled depressedly, they are all laughing at me, right? Then I won't tell you what I discovered. I will choke you to death. Then he slapped his butt. Sit on the chair. Who would have known that he was suffocating you to death? So he just echoed the one in front of him outside. Everyone laughed even harder, and even the calm Duan Lei couldn't help but shake his head and chuckle. Seeing that everyone was almost laughing, Duan Lei motioned for everyone to be quiet, then looked at Tang Haoshan and said, Okay, old Tang, can you tell everyone what you think? Humph. Tang Hao glanced at everyone with a snort, and then said, Liza. The situation you mentioned before may or may not happen in the future, but what does this have to do with us? We don't have anyone who wants to run this base. Having said this, Tang Haoshan looked at everyone present again and saw that no one refuted him, so he continued. Honestly, I was frustrated enough by managing that small camp. If those brothers hadn't been following me all the time, who would be willing to suffer that? I racked my brains all day long thinking about where to get resources and how to get them. When I come back, I have to think about how to distribute it so that everyone won't have any objections. And there's just such a small camp and there's a lot of shit happening all day long. You can take care of it, but you can't take care of it. It's embarrassing if you don't take care of it. It's really not annoying enough. Every day, except when I hear their boss shouting, it's okay. At other times, this captain is a damn burden. Is what I said correct? Many of you here take it too seriously. You can tell me what I said. Is it true? Tang Haoshan said this and asked directly to everyone in the lobby. After hearing Tang Haoshan's question, the leaders in the lobby who had managed the camp thought about it and realized that this was really the case. This leader would feel more comfortable when others called him, and other times it's really all trouble. Of course, this is also because the leaders of these camps are not bad in nature. At least they really want to lead the people in their camps to survive in this apocalypse. If they are leaders of camps like Heilang, you won't find managing the campground a hassle. Seeing everyone nodding, Tang Hakai continued, so. I said lazy eye, your matter has nothing to do with us at all. We will just listen to your arrangements, and then we will do whatever we have to do. We will find you when we have enough points. The madman changed the bottle of evolution potion and made an evolver for fun. As for the base, who cares about me? Anyway, I'm just following you. What use is it for us to come to this base? Who should I turn to when others come to me for points? As for where the madman can get so many strengthening potions and evolution potions, that's the madman's business. Anyway, when I have enough points to ask you to exchange them, just don't say you don't have them. As long as there are evolution potions, I won't even give you 10 bases. After Tang Haoshan finished speaking, he crossed his legs and said lazily, you don't have to worry about so many things. You still have a chance to become an evolution. And I think the character of the madman is fine. At least he is at the front when it is most dangerous. Even if you ask me to take his position, won't you think I'm a fool? After Tang Haoshan finished speaking, the other enhancers nodded in agreement, yes. If you hide behind and refuse to do anything, you must rush to the top and become a fool. That's really stupid. As a result, these enhancers who were laughing at Tang Haoshan just now nodded. Some even gave Tang Haoshan a thumbs up, praising him for thinking clearly. However, they did not see that Wang Feng's face was already very dark as he was sitting there. It's even darker. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 118. Wang Feng's face was as dark as water, but Duan Lei couldn't hold back his laughter and his face turned red. Lu Wanting was not much better than Duan Lei. Fortunately, she was a beauty, so her rosy face didn't have much impact. Only then did the enhancers in the lobby feel that something was wrong. Some quickly turned their heads and pretended to look at the surrounding walls, while others went to study the luxurious chandelier above their heads. Only Tang Haoshan seemed to finally realize it. Wang Feng giggled. Hee. Madman. I didn't mean that, you know, I just wanted to say, haha. Right? That you are very, powerful. Yes. That's what I meant. Wang Feng looked at Tang Haoshan with a half smile but not a smile, yes. I understand. It is true that I am too powerful, and I also feel that this is not good. I have to shorten the gap between you and me, right? Tang Haoshan was stunned. Shorten it a little? Could it be that, you want to give yourself evolution fluid? If you want to be crooked, face the wall. Okay. Seeing how eager you are to become stronger, I will work harder. Starting from tomorrow, you will have to fight with me every day. It will be regarded as special training. Oh. The big man is not counted, he has already. There is no difference between me and me. Wang Feng said slowly. As soon as he finished speaking, all the enhancers in the lobby turned into bitter faces. They knew with their heels that this special training was definitely an excuse for Wang Feng to avenge his personal revenge. They would not be beaten by him when the time came. It's weird to have teeth all over the floor. But no one dared to refute, for fear of burning themselves, so they all looked at Tang Haoshan with murderous eyes, as if you don't speak, we will train you again. You're a lunatic. Look. Our base is full of waste right now. We have a lot of things to do, right? We don't have time right now. Although it's important to improve our strength, this can take a while. Tang Haoshan lowered his eyebrows and spoke sincerely to Wang Feng. Duan Lei, who had been watching, smiled softly. He was really grateful to Tang Haoshan. Although everyone might understand the truth he said, if no one pointed it out, not everyone might be able to think of it, and the effect would not be that great. Well, it just so happens that these words cannot be said by the people on their side. Tang Haoshan is the best candidate, because Tang Haoshan's camp was a large camp before, and there were many subordinates. Several of the second-level enhancers present were his former subordinates. Now the situation in Hope Base is obvious. One force belongs to Wang Feng's side. There are 2 evolvers, and there are 2 more upcoming evolvers. The high-end combat power is naturally dominant here, but the people below it's just a bit unsatisfactory. The other force is all the other camps that have come here. Their high-end combat power is not as good as Wang Feng's, but the number of strong people is an absolute advantage, and Tang Haoshan can undoubtedly be said to be the representative of their side. Although everyone has now come together to form the Hope Camp, complete integration cannot be completed so quickly. During this period, having Tang Haoshan, a very beautiful guy who does things well, is also the luck of the entire Hope Camp. Apart from anything else, if Tang Haoshan had asked Duanlei in a questioning tone when Duanlei proposed this plan, and Duanlei had repeated what Tang Haoshan said, the effect would have been greatly reduced. Tang Haoshan's last words were great. Although he hurt Wang Feng, Tang Haoshan definitely did it on purpose. With such a gag-like nonsense, the distance between everyone was invisibly closer. Others probably wouldn't dare to make fun of Wang Feng like this. Firstly, they don't know if Wang Feng likes it. Secondly, it's also because they think they are not very familiar with Wang Feng. What if they suddenly fall out while driving? They couldn't stand it anymore. Seeing that they dared to joke about Tang Haoshan but not dare to joke about Wang Feng, they could not tell the difference between far and near. Wang Feng obviously understood what Tang Haoshan meant, so he told him about the special training. Sure enough, after that, the atmosphere in the lobby seemed much more harmonious. Madman. It's really hard these days. I don't have enough manpower, but I can consider leaving old Tang to you alone. You just need to give him special training first. Duanlei also participated with interest. As soon as Duanlei's words came out, Tang Haoshan's face suddenly turned black, but other enhancers expressed their agreement one after another. This made Tang Haoshan quite hurt and cursed everyone as traitors. Because this gathering was actually just about that, and everyone had been busy all day, so after a while of commotion, they were ready to disperse. But before the meeting ended, Duanlei looked at Wang Feng and Lu Wanting and asked with a half-smile, "Madman. One last thing, you see there are only 4 floors with so many of us now, aren't there too many rooms, if you and this beauty live together? Live together? Live together?" A group of enhancer assassins acted no different from a group of hooligans, shouting at the top of their lungs. Lu Wanting blushed and ran to Shen Yishan's side, pulling her out with her. When the second-level enhancer took her to settle Zhang Xiu, she had already told her that the suite on the 5th floor belonged to Shen Yishan, and there were 4 of them. Room, Zhang Xiu, and she will stay here for 1 night. Should we wait until tomorrow? It was just because Shen Yishan was still an ordinary person and the elevator was not open, so Duanlei asked the second-level enhancer to lead Lu Wanting. Now that everyone was teasing her, Lu Wanting was still a girl. If she acted tough in such a matter, it would not be a good thing for her. So although she was not familiar with Shen Yishan, she still dragged her out with her. After all, women would become besties in less than a minute. Wang Feng looked at Duanlei and shook his head. He found that Duanlei seemed to have changed a little since he started to build the base. At least he would never play such a prank in front of so many people before. If such a high IQ guy suddenly likes to play pranks, it's really not good news. The group walked towards the stairs in a mighty manner. At this time, Tang Haoshan and Chen Tianhao were already arm in arm and calling each other brothers. Wang Feng didn't need to worry about Chen Shaoan's residence. He just found Tang Haoshan and told him to follow him to Black Dragon Bridge tomorrow. He also gave him a rough description of the size and weight of the turtle and asked him to prepare according to his instructions. After that, he went over to talk to Gui Wuivong for a few words before running to Duanlei. Naturally, he lived with Duanlei today. It is a room but not a bed. The main reason for talking to Gui Wuovong was not to talk, but to let Tian Kai see if he could use the life source to help Gui Wuovong recover his broken arm. Unfortunately, Tian Kai's answer was no. Even Wang Feng, the master of Tian Kai, needed to be injured by this kind of limb mutilation after fusing the life source before he could recover. The previous ones were useless, but Tian Kai said that if he could find Gui Wuovong's arm, there might be some hope to connect it. Hearing this plan, Wang Feng gave up directly. Gui Wuovong's arm was bitten by the zombies when he was killing the mutant zombies because he saved himself, and then he was cut off by himself. The zombies had already taken it as a snack. Where can I find it now? So just now Wang Feng asked Tian Kai to absorb a drop of Gui Wuovong's blood to help him synthesize an evolution potion. After saving Wang Feng, Gui Wuovong found that he did not have any fear or panic reaction after being bitten, but directly told Wang Feng that he would try his best to hold on and leave the big things to him. Whether it was his behavior or his attitude, Wang Feng had already recognized it, so Wang Feng didn't need Gui Wuovong to exchange points for evolution liquid with him, and the most important thing was that Wang Feng was now able to make several evolution liquids. Of course, Wang Feng didn't know how many bottles he could synthesize. At that time, he asked about the number of apocalypse points, and then a series of things happened. He had to sort out the harvest when he went to bed. The most important thing was to know why there were so few apocalypse points. In Wang Feng's calculation, the turtle spit out saliva casually at that time. It was a water arrow, and one water arrow was 250 energy points. Then you have to give me 1 million energy points for the whole turtle, right? In this way, Wang Feng could turn all the people in the camp into enhancers, but the number given to him by Apocalypse was far from his judgment. Now Wang Feng could only hope that the exchange rate between Apocalypse points and energy points was very different. This is why Wang Feng promised Duan Lei that he would give him an answer tomorrow. Once the entire camp adopts the points system, it will be a big burden for Wang Feng. Although Wang Feng can earn some difference from the points of the Guardian Corps soldiers, the soldiers are only a minority, and the money earned from them is definitely not enough to make up for the rest of the camp. If you agree, you must do it. This points system is equivalent to a monetary system, but it is just a change of banknotes into points. Although Wang Feng has not studied finance, he can roughly understand what Duan Lei means. Guardian soldiers collect resources and kill zombies outside to exchange for points. Survivors who stay in the camp also use their own work to exchange for points. Finally, everyone uses points to exchange for the materials they need. This is a very simple thing after the base is improved. Everyone performs their duties and takes what they need. The base is just a middleman. However, it is difficult to carry out in the early stage. However, if the points system is to be promoted smoothly, the best time is the early stage of the base establishment. Because everyone has just gathered together and is preparing to build a base together, introducing a points system at this time will not only gather people's hearts, but also make it easier for everyone to accept it. However, the supplies in the early stage are so scarce that they are not enough to support this points system, so Duan Lei put this idea on Wang Feng. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 119. After saying goodbye to everyone, Duan Lei and Wang Feng came to their residence. Because they didn't know about Lu Wanting's existence before, Duan Lei found a suite for himself and Wang Feng. The living room outside was quite large, because Duan Lei considered someone will come here to discuss things in the evening. In addition to this large living room, there are two small rooms next to each other, which can be used as bedrooms for two people. However, now that Wang Feng has brought a girl back, it seems that Wang Feng will have to change rooms tomorrow. Seeing the smile on Duan Lei's face, Wang Feng sat on the sofa in the living room with an annoyed look, stretched out his limbs and lay on it. Don't change it yet, let's wait until the base stabilizes. Are you sure? Sharpening a knife can make you a good chopping wood, right? Duan Lei sat on the sofa opposite Wang Feng and joked. Stop talking yet. Let me think. Wang Feng was too lazy to talk to Duan Lei and quickly started communicating with Tian Kai. Apocalypse, how many apocalypse points do you have now? Wang Feng wanted to confirm again. 18,461. Apocalypse answered with a slightly increased number. Wang Feng did some calculations and found that the number reported by Tian Kai before was 18,456 points. After that, he killed zombies twice. One was the one surrounding Zhao Taihan. Because Zhao Taihan died at that time, Wang Feng couldn't care less about those zombies, so these didn't count. After that, there were those killed at the Green Island camp. There were more than 70 of them, but the apocalypse points only increased by 5 points. There were almost 10 zombies for 1 apocalypse point. How many previous energy points are these Tian Kai points roughly equivalent to? Wang Feng was a little confused in his calculations, so he simply asked Tian Kai directly. Less than 200,000. Apocalypse's answer made Wang Feng a little depressed. He thought about how that turtle could bring him millions of energy points, but it ended up like this. Apocalypse. Didn't you say that turtle is a 5th level creature with very strong life energy? How did it absorb so much? Wang Feng wondered if Apocalypse was deducting his apocalypse points. It is very strong, but because in the process of killing it, it desperately consumed the source of life to repair its body. In this process, it consumed not only the source of life, but also its life energy, so it was eventually destroyed. The life energy I absorbed is less than 1/10 of its own value. And I did not convert some of the alien life energy it possessed into apocalypse points, but retained it. Because I had not advanced before, I could not retain the alien life energy when absorbing the life energy of living things, so the synthetic evolutionary fluid can be the creature's primary attribute. For example, the evolutionary fluid you used is because the cat is agile, so the synthetic evolutionary fluid is the evolutionary direction of the agile type. But the one Luqiang used is to strengthen zombies, so it is a power type. Alien life energy is a special kind of energy in living things. The reaction on you is your superpower. That is to say, if I can absorb your life energy, then I can use your blast and sky eyes to keep it and merge it into the evolution potion. In this way, people who use this evolution potion can have your abilities, but each potion can only add one type. I'll go. Don't keep making comparisons with me. Why are you absorbing my life energy? Wang Feng said depressedly. Apocalypse, how many kinds of life energy are there in that turtle? 3 types, thunder attribute, ice attribute, and defense attribute. In addition, this turtle belongs to the agility type. Apocalypse's answer made Wang Feng feel very pained. The first 3 were okay. Although the thunder attribute was not used by the turtle, it might be because he didn't have time. The ice attribute was naturally those ice arrows, and the defensive attribute was no problem. That turtle shell Wang Feng is quite familiar with the hardness. But what the hell is this agility system? Does Tian Kai mean to say that this is an agile turtle? And during the battle with this turtle, it simply stopped there without moving its body. Is this also called agility? If this is the case, Wang Feng will have to reconsider his evolutionary direction. Apocalypse. Are you mistaken? This turtle is agile? Has it ever moved? Wang Feng asked his question politely. It's not wrong. I absorbed the life source of this turtle. This information is all collected from the turtle's life source. Tian Kai's answer was very confident. This turtle is called the lightning turtle. It is very fast. Its strongest attack is a thunder attribute attack, thunderstorm. But it cannot be used because it is restricted. At the same time, its body is trapped there and cannot move. Even if it uses the ice arrows coming to attack you are not even 1/10 of their normal power. In addition, there are loopholes in its defense, so it was killed by you. It can be said that this turtle was not killed by you at all, but another creature. If it can function normally, an ice arrow I can completely wipe you out. Although that ice arrow is life energy and I can absorb it, if it were an ice arrow sent out in its heyday, I would not have time to absorb that powerful life energy. You would be frozen to pieces by the ice arrow. Wang Feng suddenly felt a chill in his body. He didn't expect that the turtle he killed was so powerful. What creature is limiting this turtle? Could it be the owner of the powerful breath of life under the cave? Apocalypse, can those alien life energies be used separately? For example, how many ice-attributed evolution potions can be synthesized with the ice-attributed one? Wang Feng didn't want to dwell on these things anymore. He felt that this world should not be as simple as he saw now. Since this turtle is so powerful, doesn't it mean that as long as another powerful level 5 creature in its prime appears, his base will be instantly destroyed? Then what is he still busy with? Quickly disband and get it over with. He must quickly improve his strength. At least the number of evolvers must be increased, and he also needs to quickly become a second-level evolver. Although according to Apocalypse, becoming a second-level evolver still belongs to a second-level creature and cannot cross to the height of a third-level creature. But after all, the strength has been improved. A little more strength means more hope of survival. The alien life from the same life form can only synthesize one evolution potion and cannot be split. Apocalypse's answer disappointed Wang Feng again. He originally thought that he could produce a large number of evolvers with attribute attacks, but he didn't expect that this alien energy could not be split. Forget it. If it can't be split, it can't be split. It's good to make 3 copies. Xiao Lei. Come here. Wang Feng waved to Duan Lei. Duan Lei was stunned and was about to speak, but he swallowed it back when he saw Wang Feng's serious expression. He stood up and came to Wang Feng. Wang Feng grabbed Duan Lei's hand and asked Tiankai to take a drop of Duan Lei's blood. Then he added the alien life energy of the thunder attribute and began to synthesize the evolution potion. But now the first level evolution potion is synthesized. Even ordinary people can use the first level evolution potion. After success, they will become first level evolvers, but only first level enhancers can use the second level evolution potion. Because ordinary people or enhancers have not undergone the body transformation in the process of becoming evolvers, they cannot withstand the huge life energy contained in the second level evolution liquid. This is why it only takes about 10 minutes to take the enhancement potion, at most half an hour, while the evolution potion needs to be calculated in units of time, because the transformation process of the body of the evolver is very long. Wang Feng decided to give the thunder attribute alien life energy to Duan Lei, because Tiankai said that the strongest attack method of the turtle is the thunderstorm of thunder attribute. From the name, you can tell the violence of this ability. And he has Tiankai, and the attack power is enough. Instead of asking for a strong attack ability, it is better to choose one from the defense or ice attributes. The remaining 2 attributes are very suitable for Wang Feng. The defense attribute can make Wang Feng's self-protection ability stronger in the future. If he had the defense attribute when fighting against the mutant zombies before, he would not have been scratched and scarred. The ice attribute can give him an additional restriction skill. It is conceivable that the arrows shot by Wang Feng in the future will be more terrifying if they are attached with ice. These 2 alien attributes are relatively more suitable for Wang Feng than the thunder attribute. Wang Feng held Duan Lei's hand for a while and then let go, then pouted his lips at the sofa opposite, indicating that Duan Lei could go back. Duan Lei couldn't help but feel a little puzzled. He didn't know what Wang Feng meant by asking him to come over and shake hands so seriously, but he turned around depressedly and returned to his previous position, sat down and looked at Wang Feng. Now Tiankai's blood collection process is quite simple. As long as Wang Feng can touch the other party, Tiankai can instantly obtain the other party's blood. Of course, the other party's skin will still be broken, but after absorbing the blood, Tiankai will immediately repair the damaged skin. So the object whose blood is taken can only feel slight pain. If this skill is mastered by the nurses in the hospital, it will definitely be very popular with children. Wang Feng didn't say anything, but quietly waited for the synthesis of the evolution potion. Because Wang Feng asked Tiankai to add the origin of life to this evolution potion, the synthesis time will be slightly longer. The origin of life is different from alien life. It can be divided into many parts, and the amount used can also be controlled. It doesn't matter how much. Of course, the more you add, the more benefits you get, but this benefit can only be reflected when the 4th level creature advances to the 5th level creature. However, because these life origins belong to a powerful level 5 creature, they are different from the life origins below level 4. Creatures below level 4 cannot sense their own life origins, and after death, the life origins in their bodies will also dissipate. Doomsday Special Forces. Author, Huanjing Chengzhu. Chapter 120. After adding the 5th level source of life, the person who uses this potion can sense the existence of the source of life in advance. Even if it is just a trace, the benefits to this creature are unimaginable. The bottleneck of breaking through from level 4 to level 5 is the source of life, so level 4 to level 5 is a qualitative leap. It can be said that if this turtle is not restricted, not to mention Wang Feng, even if there are hundreds of turtles, no level creature can cause fatal damage to this turtle. Wang Feng found a huge bargain this time, but was it really a bargain? After Duan Lei's evolution potion was synthesized, Wang Feng directly asked Apocalypse to continue to synthesize a 2nd level evolution potion for his own use, adding the ice alien energy, because Wang Feng considered that he had Apocalypse's treatment, and for defense it's not a special need. On the contrary, it was the ice arrows shot by the turtle that made Wang Feng yearn for it, and Wang Feng still had some expectations for this skill, but he didn't know whether this ability to turn would be copied to himself. Of course, Wang Feng's 2nd level evolution potion also contains the source of life, but the amount added is the same as Duan Lei's. Because the source of life is limited, even if it is used like this, there are only 23 copies. It was given to Qiu Jian and Xiaoun's is already 2 copies. Zhao Taihan's share was crushed because he lost control of his emotions at the time. He originally thought it would be wasted, but Apocalypse absorbed all the life energy and life origin when the potion dripped. So now after Wang Feng uses another copy of his life source, he will only have 19 copies of his life source. Wang Feng can actually use all 19 copies of his life source, but it is of little significance, because no matter how powerful he is, he can still use it. How effective is it? Therefore, Wang Feng gave himself the same share. This time he was lucky enough to get the source of life. Who knows when he can get it next time, so Wang Feng must use all the remaining sources of life for himself. On someone you trust. He raised his hand and looked at the evolution potion in his hand. The evolution potion with alien life energy was slightly different from the ordinary one. In the golden liquid of Duan Lei's evolution potion, there was a trace of lightning flashing in the liquid. Look. It looks very beautiful. After looking at it curiously, Wang Feng waved his hand and threw the evolution potion towards Duan Lei. It's yours. Go in and drink it quickly. Evolution potion. Duan Lei caught the vial and took a look at it. He also noticed the tiny lightning flashing in the potion. That's right. After drinking it, when you wake up again, you will also be an evolved person. Wang Feng nodded affirmatively. Unexpectedly, Duan Lei did not stand up immediately, but frowned and looked at the vial. How is this thing refined? It's very simple. Accumulate the strengthening liquid in the zombie's head, and then when it reaches a certain amount, pour it into the mouth, like gargling, ulu ulu ulu, just mix it, and then put it into a bottle. That's it, Wang Feng said casually. Damn. Do you have to say something so disgusting? Du Enlai frowned. Of course he knew that Wang Feng was lying, but he still stared at the strengthening potion for a while, sighed, and threw the vial away. Return. Wang Feng caught it and looked at Du Enlai in surprise, but did not speak. He knew that Du Enlai would definitely give him a good explanation. I can't use this now. Du Enlai looked at Wang Feng and said seriously, the base has just started to be built. There are too many things. It is impossible for me to lie down and accept evolution at this time. And I am currently staying in the base and not going out. There is no problem with safety for the time being. Let's wait for now. At least after the base is stabilized a little bit, I will be using this thing. Can I give this to others first? Tang Haoshan can't give it yet. He can't sleep now. It's best for your girlfriend to wait for a while. Let her get familiar with it here for at least 2 days. You can just take care of the others. Also, Sister Shen will give her a strengthening potion first. Otherwise, she won't be able to hold on as an ordinary person. She has a lot to do now, but if you want to give it, give her two. If you want one, she will definitely give it. Niu Niu. This is fused with your blood. If others use it, the effect will not be good. You should keep it for now and use it when you think it can be used. Wang Feng thought about it and felt that Du Enlai's words made sense, at least for now. If you fall asleep, your head will get bigger. So he nodded and was about to throw the evolution potion to Du Enlai. Unexpectedly, Du Enlai still shook his head. No. Leave it to you. If I lose it, I might be in trouble. Du Enlai had seen the evolution potion Lu Qiang used at that time, so he knew that the evolution potion Wang Feng gave him was not an ordinary evolution potion, and he also saw that Wang Feng seemed to have a place to hide things. Because the evolution potion suddenly appeared in his hand, he didn't think that Wang Feng could learn some magic after going to the Green Island camp. Moreover, Wang Feng had done something similar before, and no one noticed that Wang Feng had done it. Lei didn't know, but at least Du Enlai was sure of his guess. It's just that since Wang Feng didn't say anything, he didn't ask. Wang Feng thought for a while and had no choice but to nod. Then he put away the evolution potion, then looked at Du Enlai and nodded, well. I have a space where I can put some things. No one else can open it except me. Before you have you read the novel? It's similar to the space ring. How old? Du Enlai's eyes lit up. 1,000 cubic meters, Wang Feng's answer made Du Enlai even more excited, and he stood up directly. Ha! Okay. This thing won't go bad if you put food in it, right? Wang Feng nodded, yeah. There is no concept of time in it, of course not. Okay. This is the best. Du Enlai raised his head and thought for a while, with it, it will be easier to start promoting our points system. Ah, Wang Feng was stunned. Then he asked, I said, how big is your imagination? How come we can talk about space and you can relate it to the points system? It's not that I have a big brain, it's that you have a small brain. Du Enlai glanced at Wang Feng with disdain. There probably won't be too many zombies on the Black Dragon Bridge side now, so it's not that easy for you to collect the strengthening fluid, but there should be a lot of mutant beasts, right? The sea over Jianguan town, and the entire area surrounding Black Dragon City Mountain. Your strengthening liquid is used to stabilize the points system, so its price cannot be too low. Its effect is equivalent to the effect of gold on the financial system before the end of the world. But the meat of mutant beasts is different. It can also strengthen the body of ordinary people. We can let those people use points to exchange for the meat of mutant beasts. The point system has not started yet anyway. The more things that can be exchanged, the better. Wang Feng shook his head helplessly after hearing this. Okay. Whatever you want. Anyway, I don't have to worry about this. Besides, I can tell you now that the maximum amount of strengthening liquid I can produce is about 10,000. You can look at the price yourself. Anyway, I can't guarantee that it will be more. I have just asked Apocalypse about how one Apocalypse point can be used to synthesize an enhancement solution. Now I have more than 18,000 Apocalypse points, so I use 10,000 to support the points system, and keep the rest as a spare. Moreover, I still need Apocalypse points to synthesize the evolution potion. One requires 50 Apocalypse points. So although it seems that Apocalypse points are a lot, once they are used, they are still not enough. Especially when Wang Feng asked Apocalypse to synthesize a second-level evolution potion, Apocalypse actually told him that a second-order evolution potion requires 500 Apocalypse points. Fully 10 times more expensive than the first level. It seems that if you want to improve your strength, you still have to work hard to earn Apocalypse points. If you don't do anything, it won't be enough. Wang Feng thought a little depressed. 10,000, Duan Lei pondered for a moment, that's enough? I just need your strengthening potion support in the early stage of the launch of the points system, because we have nothing else for everyone to exchange, and it is mainly provided to those who go out to search for supplies. Guard the warriors. Okay. Anyway, you can just worry about this. I will only be responsible for the search and rescue outside, and looking for mutant beasts and other things. Wang Feng leaned on the sofa leisurely and said while looking at the ceiling. You are really thorough in throwing away the boss. Duan Lei struck Wang Feng mercilessly. It's not me who wants to be the shopkeeper, you pushed me here, right? Wang Feng felt that he was wronged. This must be done. Although we don't have a one-man talk, the power to make the decision must be on our side. Duan Lei said seriously, I definitely don't want to see a large group of people arguing for a long time about something, but in the end it ended up being fruitless because no one was willing to give up their own interests. Stop. Don't talk about this. Tell me if you have found any talents in the base. Wang Feng quickly changed the topic. He felt that once he talked about this with Duan Lei, he might not be able to finish the conversation in more than 10 chapters. All the readers ran away. There are a few. I have stayed, and will soon set up several departments. Among them, there are two people who I think can be of great use. They are both botanists, specializing in the study of plants before the apocalypse, and after the apocalypse, they will serve as ordinary people. I've never been hungry. Because they can tell which plants can be eaten and which plants cannot be eaten. They rely on those plants to survive until now. I promised them to provide them with strengthening potions and let them go out with the search team to find some plants and come back. Let's see if we can cultivate it ourselves. In addition, I have asked people to find some places in Ganlin County that can be used for planting. I have also collected some seeds of crops such as wheat. I have also recruited a group of people who know how to farm in the base to start planting crops. Only in this way can we completely get rid of the problem of food. By the way, the convoy that will follow you tomorrow may be a bit larger, because I will ask people to follow you to bring back the corpses of the zombies to use as fertilizer first. Stop it, Wang Feng patted his heart, what you said is more disgusting than when I just gargled my mouth, did you know that?